Hello everyone and welcome back to the FRC Historian. Today I'm going to be going over one of the most interesting Einsteins of all time, that being in 2013, where all four divisions were incredibly symbolic. It was an incredibly close Einstein final, and there's actually a lot of parallels to this in 2019 as well with the two finalist divisions. Of course, not saying the same names, but a lot of the same properties. So today I'm going to be going over this, and we're going to go over the two divisions that were the most symbolic, that being Archimedes and Galileo, and we're going to go over all four divisions, have a very close view of these two, and then go into how it went so you can all know more about FRC history. Now we're going to start off with the Archimedes division. Now the captain of this division was Team 33 of the Killer Bees. If you want to know how the Killer Bees did that year, they ranked 3rd overall in the 1st Michigan District. They went to 3 districts. Those being Grand Blanc, Waterford, and Medford. Sorry, they went to the Waterford first. Where at Waterford as rank 4, they became a district winner and innovation and control awardee. Then they went to Grand Blanc where they were rank 1 district winner, going 18-0, also winning the quality award. Then they went to Bedford where they were ranked 2, going 16-2, becoming a district winner, as well as the industrial design awardee. They went to 3, they won 3, and at the 3rd one they won with one of their partners. Then they went on to the Michigan State Championship, where as part of Alliance 3 they would get out in the semifinals against a team who we'll be talking about soon. Then they would move on to the Archimedes division, where it was ranked 2, they would captain the number 2 alliance, where they would pick this next team, Team 469 Los Guerrillas. Now at this time, Los Guerrillas was arguably in one of their best states ever. This was shortly after 2012 where they had an outstanding season, 2010 where they had an outstanding season, and preceding 2014 when they would win their championship. This was when Los Guerrillas were in the height of their power. They went to 3 districts as well, ended up ranking 1st in the 1st Michigan District, going to the Detroit 1st District where rank 1 going 18-1 here, only losing 1 finals match, would go on to win this district as well as the Excellence in Engineering Award. Then they would move on to the Troy 1st District, where they would go 16-2 this time, where they would become the district winner yet again, actually as the 2nd alliance, also winning the Innovation and Control Award. Then they would go into Bedford, where going 18-0, they would pick 33 and win this district once yet again. Win this district as well as win the Innovation and Control Award. Then they would go on to the Michigan State Championship, and as I mentioned before, they would be ranked 2, and they would pick teams 217 and 35-39. Now here, they would win in the quarterfinals, win in the semis, and then win against the alliances 67, 20-54, and 23-37, becoming the first in Michigan State champions here, up against 33 in the semis, making a very fine first pick for the 33 Alliance 2 of Archimedes. Then finally, let's talk about their 3rd spot, Mechanical Mayhem out of Milford, New Hampshire. Now this team first went to the BAE Systems Granite State Regional in Manchester, New Hampshire, where they would be part of Alliance number 4, winning in the quarterfinals and then being upset in the semifinals by 6-10, 41-24, and 36-09, remember 6-10, where they would win 2 Dean's List finalist awards. Then they would move on to the 2nd regional, that being the North Carolina Regional. Now here's rank 3, they would be picked up by the number 1 alliance, where they would go 14-1 overall, going 6-0 in elims and winning a regional here, as well as the Excellence in Engineering Award. What's notable here is that this team made it all the way to the second round picks for the 2nd alliance, being ranked 50, although being passed up by many people. This team would end up being picked by the number 2 alliance, and let's talk about how this alliance did. This alliance in the quarterfinals went up against teams 379, 365, and 34-67, going 2-0. Then the next one, more surprisingly, they went up against a very powerful alliance, that being Captain 2468. First pick 254 and second pick 11. Now 254, 2468, and 11 were a very powerful alliance, putting up scores of 203 and 216. However, that was not high enough for this alliance, who put up scores of 222 and 266 respectively. Now let's move on to the finals, where they went up against one of the teams with the highest OPRs of this year, that being teams 2959, 2415, and 987, the High Rollers. Now this alliance would put up a fight. The Blue Alliance would win the first match 191-177. The Red Alliance would win 201-198 by 3 points, and then the final match was decided for the Blue Alliance, the number 2 Alliance, 245-203, with these teams winning their division. Now let's go on to conversely, their opponents this year. Now let's talk about their opponents a little bit and how they were able to do. So in the Galileo division, don't worry, I will go over the other teams once I get the chance. In the Galileo division, this captain was Team 1241, Theory 6. Now this division was a little bit different, where the captain would go to the Greater Toronto East Regional, where they become a regional finalist, ranked 5th, being picked up by the number 2 team, along with teams 216 and 43. They would win both quarterfinals, win both semifinals, yet lose out to the dynamic duo that is 11-14 and 2056, alongside 13-25 Inverse Paradox. They would lose out in the finals. However, winning the Engineering Inspiration Award, a Dean's List Award, and the Imagery Award at this regional. Then they would move on to the Waterloo Regional, where as part of Alliance 4, along with teams 13-34 and 39-49, they would win their first match, lose their second, and win their third to go on to the semifinals, where they'd be knocked out by guess who? The dynamic duo of 2056, 11-14, and then 40-69 is their second pick. Then this team would go on to the Greater Toronto West Regional, where they would be part of the number 3 Alliance, where along with teams 13-25 and 2013, they would win both matches against the number 6 Alliance, yet be knocked out by 13-10, 47-16, and 13-34 in the semifinals of its regional, winning the Innovation and Control Award. This team would then go on to the Galilee Division, where it's ranked 6. They would be the captains of the number 5 Alliance. Next up, their first pick, Texas Torque, out of Conroe, Texas. This team being a very well-known one, where here they would rank 2nd of the Lone Star Regional, becoming the Innovation and Control Awardee, getting out in the quarterfinals of this competition against 231, 192, and 14-29, along with teams 43, 55, and 624. Then they move on to the Bayou Regional in Louisiana, where here they would be in the number 6 Alliance, along with teams 456 and 442, where they would win both matches in the quarterfinals, upsetting the number 3 Alliance, then go into the semifinals where they were knocked out by the Alliance of 155, 14-21, and 30-39. Yet this Alliance would win the Industrial Design Award. And then they would move on to the Alamo Regional. This is something they would not forget, where they would be rank 1, picking teams 624 and 457, where they go 2-0 in the quarterfinals, move on to the semis, win the first match, yet unfortunately lose the next 2 matches against 2-4-6-8, Team Appreciates, 27-89, and 40-63. Then they would move on to their 4th regional of the year, this one being the Razorback Regional. Now at the Razorback Regional, they would rank 1st. It actually ended up going 18-0, spoiler alert, they'd win, along with teams 36-12 and 14-21, where they become a regional winner and Excellence in Engineering Award. They went to 4 regionals, they made it all the way to the finals in their last one, and won it. Which makes it even more surprising they made it all the way to the 5th pick of this division. Now, let's move on to their next one, and Texas Torque would rank 27th in their division. Next up, 610, rounding out this alliance, the Crescent Coyotes. Now let's talk about how the Crescent Coyotes went. First off, they went to the BAE Systems Granite State Regional, where in Manchester, New Hampshire, they would rank 1st, going 15-1, where along with teams 36-09 and 41-24, they would win both quarterfinals against 27-91, 34-67, and 78. They would win both semifinals against 8-85, 133, and remember them, 15-19. Then win both finals against 61, 175, and 172, becoming a regional winner and an Excellence in Engineering Award winner. Then they would move on to the Waterloo Regional, where, as part of Alliance 2, they would team up with teams 37-56 and 13-10, move on to the semifinals where they would win their first match, lose the second, yet win the third to move on to the finals, where here they'd be knocked out by, who guessed it, the dynamic duo of 2056, 11-14, and then 40-69. They would also win the Quality Award at this regional. Then they would move on to the Yale Division, where it's ranked 14th. They'd be picked up by the number 5 Alliance. Now let's talk about how this alliance went. Now going into the quarterfinals, they lost their first match against an alliance 26-30, 36-41, and 111. A very powerful alliance indeed. They would lose the first match 199-181, win the next one 216-201, and then win the third 203-193. Then they would move on to the semifinals, where they would go up against a very, very powerful alliance of 11-14, 118, and 40-39, where they would lose the first match at 243-207, repeat their last performance going 230-203, then winning out against the number 1 alliance 235-219. Then they would move on to the finals, where they would go up against the teams 32-84, 21-69, and 21-75. Unlike the previous matches, they would beat it in 2, going 164-59 and 193-174, becoming the Galileo Division champions. Now we're going to talk about the Curie Division. Now why are we talking about the Curie Division? Well, keeping up with the trends, we're going to talk about how the Archimedes Division did. And before that, I'd like to proceed with how the Curie Division, their rivals in Einstein semifinals, did. Now, the Curie Division 2013 is one that I've talked about before in the video. It's one of the most symbolic and important ones that I've ever seen. As for me, it was my first ever introduction to a successful Scorched Earth, with Team 1678, the Sister Circuits, pulling off a 4-team Scorched Earth. Now here they would scorch Team 1717, 1310, 2056, and 359. You heard that right. Where here, Team 1678 would then pick up Team 148, the Robo Wranglers, and then Team 862, Lightning Robotics. Now here, you had some very, very powerful teams in Curie. Of course, those four who had just said no, as well as some other teams there who were powerful as well. Now, the alliances here were powerful. However, in the end, it was the alliance of 1678, 148, and 862 who, although losing a semi to the 2056 alliance and then losing a final to the 67, 1918, and 48-14 alliance, would go on to win this division as rank 1 and then go on to the Einstein field. Now, unfortunately for them, they would be up against the very powerful Archimedes division, which we've talked about before. The Curie division would win the first match 233 to 201. However, the Archimedes division would put up a score of 186 to 127 and then 152 to 136, rounding out this Einstein semifinal, winning it and becoming the first Einstein field finalist. Now let's talk about the other one, this being the Newton division. Now the Newton division was captained by a different team, that being 303, the test team. Now let's talk about this alliance. The captain of this alliance was Team 303. The first pick was Team 3476 Code Orange. You'll remember them if you see some more recent videos. Team 1640 Sabotage. Now of all these teams, 303 hadn't won anything going into Worlds. Team 3476 hadn't won anything going to Worlds. However, the second pick, 1640, would become the second pick winner of the Mid-Atlantic District Championship. Now, of all these teams with one banner under their belts going into Worlds, this number 3 alliance would go on to win the quarterfinals, win the semifinals, and upset the number 1 alliance of 1538, 1986, and 217, the team who needs no introduction. This alliance would go on to the Einstein field. Now, let's talk about how they did. Of course, since they aren't one of the two divisions that we were talking about previously, this alliance would be powerful. However, they would go up against a very powerful Galileo alliance. Now, this Galileo alliance would lose the first match 199 to 176. Then they would win the next match 225 to 200, and then finally win the third match 224 to 192. Now let's talk about the Einstein finals a bit. Now here you have two alliances, a second-rank Archimedes alliance of some very powerful and notable Team 33, 469, and 1519. Three very powerful and well-established teams from their region. Two teams from Michigan who had won 3 districts each. Another team who had won their own regional. All going up into Einstein finals, all ready for a world championship against the 5th alliance of Galileo division, who had to upset some very powerful alliance to get there themselves. That being teams 1241, 1477, and 610. All very respectable teams, of course, who did incredibly well. 610 actually beating out 1519, so the second pick of one beating out the second pick of another at a regional that they went to. However, going into this, if you did not know, in 2013, 1241 and 1477, and 1519 for that matter, were all teams who had higher numbers in the finals than any other alliance beforehand. The highest number team going up to this point winning Worlds was indeed 1114, so 1519, if they won this, would be the highest numbered team to ever win the World Championship. Let's see how it went. Let's look at the Finals 1. Now, especially in the Finals 1, the Alliance of Archimedes would win this match, 200 to 184. However, if you looked at the trend of the other Einsteins, the team who won the first did not always win the next two. Let's talk about the second final. Now, in the second finals match, the actual Galileo division would win this 210 points to 195. Now, going into finals match 3, this was an Einstein tiebreaker, something that hadn't been seen in a few years. And now, in the Einstein tiebreaker, the winner of this would determine the 2013 world champions. And if you didn't know already, it would be the Galileo division who would come home for the win. Teams 1241, 1477, and 610, winning the world championship 191 points to 164 against the Archimedes division. Team 1477 becoming the highest number team to ever win a world championship, and the first pick here. 3 teams who were good in their own merits, teaming up together to win a world championship, despite some odds that we're seeing. 1114 and 118 were both in the same alliance. Very powerful, yet being upset by this alliance. In the Archimedes division, all of these divisions had gone through outstanding feats to make it here. All 3 of these divisions would have made incredible feats had they won the championship. Yet the one that won was the Galileo division, a well-earned championship win. Every single Einstein set went to 3 matches, which is an incredible feat. Doesn't always happen that way, especially more recently. And now let me talk a little bit about the connection to 2019. Now, if you're wondering where the connection comes in to 2019, let me explain it here. So now in 2019, we all know how it went. We all know the winners. The winners of the 2019, the ones that I'm referencing here are indeed the Detroit Einsteins. That being because when you go into the finals of the Detroit Einstein field, it was indeed Archimedes versus the Darwin division. Now here, if you look at it, the Archimedes division was made up of teams 5406, 930, 1310, and 4004, as you undoubtedly know, against the Darwin division of teams 3707, 217, 4481, and 1218. Now where this kind of comes in is you have 5406, the Celtics, team 930, the Mukwanga Bears, teams 1310 and 4004. All amazing teams, all good teams in their own right, coming together to hopefully win a world championship against the very astounding 3707, 217, 4481, the Rembrandts, and 1218. Now all of these teams are outstanding teams in their own right, all making their way to an Einstein final. So, how did this go? We all know how it went. The winner of this Einstein field would indeed be the Darwin Alliance, 217, 3707, 4481, and 1218. However, this one was a little bit closer, winning by 1 point. The reason why I say that there's a connection to this is you do have a rank 5th alliance of Archimedes versus the rank 2 alliance of Darwin. Now that's the main correlation, as well as having 2 established Michigan teams, 217 and 3707, against 5406, 930, 1310, and 4004. Of course, these was a very close matches here. It could have gone either way, honestly, in 2019 Detroit. You also have a very close matchup in Houston, but here I just like the rank 5th versus rank 2nd. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want me to go more in depth in most of my videos, let me know down in the comments below. If you have anything else you'd like me to cover, please let me know, and I'd be more than happy to cover it. This was a very important one I'd like to cover, as 2013 was a very close Einstein where all 4 alliances, had they won, it would have been incredibly symbolic for them. And the result that came out was an incredibly astounding one, as the alliance that won actually had one of the lowest OPRs of any team in their division or in the championship. However, they came together and they won the world championship and on the world stage. Thank you all for listening. This has been the FRC Historian.